In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 tips on making positive change. Before we look at making significant change for ourselves, whether this is a positive lifestyle choice, great habits, personal goals, or professional goals, first it would be wise to take a look at the change process itself. Looking at this diagram, you can see that it is cyclic. Often we learn from taking action, and sometimes we even relapse and we go back a step. But the key is to learn at every stage, come back into taking action and maintaining that and learning from it. So making change for ourselves is not linear. If it was as simple as making a decision, choose the course of action and stick to it, everybody would be feeling great and would be thriving. Change is inherently uncomfortable. It takes intention and it requires an awareness to see what is or what is not, adjusting accordingly. Humans are both social creatures and creatures of habit. To step away from the patterns you have learnt, the thoughts you've lived with all your life, and the subliminal or direct messages you receive from society makes choosing a new and healthy option a challenge. Okay. So these 5 tips will help you remove the barriers that are holding you back, refrain from change, reframe the change you want to make, and ultimately take more positive steps towards the change you hope to see. Tip 1. Name your why. Often, when we hold it in our mind, the why of what we are setting out to do, we can find ourselves being pulled along in the direction we desire. You could try this coaching technique, which helps clarify your motivation for change, and ask yourself, 1. The positives of not changing. 2. The negatives of changing. 3. The positives of changing. And 4. The negatives of not changing. Writing a statement of intent starting with I want will often help focus the mind on what is important. It demonstrates the control we have in the decision and the agency to take this action for ourselves. Do not start your statements with the intent of I should or I must, as this implies an external pressure and it reduces our sense of control and agency. Tip 2. Embrace the relapse. As you can see from the stages of change model, relapse is part of the process. And so, if you relapse, have self-compassion. Don't judge yourself here. Change is a process, not a finite destination. If you relapse, or should I say when, reflect on this with self-compassion. This often happens to all of us. The question is, how will you proceed now? Having identified you've relapsed, you have now successfully come out of the pre-contemplation stage. You didn't even know there was another, even better way of doing this. And you have now moved into contemplation and preparation with a new adapted behaviour that suits your unique circumstances. Tip 3. Set process goals rather than outcome goals. When setting goals, aim to make them process focused, that is, action oriented, rather than an outcome focus. As process goals support long-term change and help reduce the anxiety aiming for an outcome focused goal can create. And it allows for greater enjoyment of the journey, enables greater adaptability to change and unexpected obstacles. For example, an outcome goal would be to lose half a stone, whereas a process goal would be to add more fibre to your evening meal and remove processed foods from your snacks. This shifts the focus from the outcome to the actions taken. This is sustainable and ultimately can lead to longer-term change. Tip 4. Get an accountability buddy. Amber Ashcroft states that accountability buddies can support motivation and bring inspiration to help you stay on track with your goals, with one study having shown a 65% chance of completing a goal if participants told someone else about it, And that chance rose to 95% if they were committed to meeting up with that person. Your accountability buddy could be someone in your social support network or even social media and online networks. They may offer accountability as simply listening to you as you describe the changes you're working on, to as grand as collaborating with you. This may offer opportunities to find a new inspiration and creative solutions to your goals. Tip 5. Improve your mindset. James Clear discusses the mindset shift of changing your identity to changing your behaviours. He explains that while motivation can lead us to start a habit, the only reason we'll stick with it is if it becomes part of our identity. For example, if you wanted to write regularly, you would identify as a writer. If you wanted to run regularly, you would identify as a runner. Having a learner mindset rather than a judger mindset can have a huge impact on your chances of successfully implementing your change. To do this, you must avoid negative judgments on yourself for not engaging in the change you'd hoped you would. Instead, ask yourself the questions that identify a way to improve your chances of sustaining change. For example, what has been supporting you in making this change? How could you improve your chances of not relapsing tomorrow? The way you think about the change you want to make has a huge impact on how you feel about it and the actions you take to make it happen. Taking the leap to start making changes often feels uncomfortable as you move from your usual automatic behaviours and habits to new intentional behaviours and mindsets for the better. Remember, it is normal to feel this discomfort until this new change becomes the norm. It is also normal to experience a relapse. The key is to recognise what is working for you and not supporting you, and then learn from it. Take control, and with self-compassion, make adjustments to improve the way you feel.